Okay, welcome to the second video of the course. We're going to talk about operators in Python. And basically, operators are symbols that perform operations in programming. So they are symbols. Think of them like action verbs, and they're built into categories. And so they are arithmetic operators that do arithmetic. They are membership operators that check for, well, membership. They are logical operators that perform logic operations. And they are also identity operators and comparison operators also are there. But in this video, we're not going to take too much time. We're just going to talk about arithmetic operators. Okay, so very straightforward and they're very easy. So I'm going to create a variable. Like what we discussed, this is an integer. And I'm going to create another variable. Okay, let's put 30 there. And I'm going to now use one of the arithmetic operators here. So and to see my output, I'm going to use the print function to say print result. And to see, to run this program, I am going to click on this play button. And then we see that the answer there is 15. Yes. So the arithmetic operators are very straightforward. The idea is this particular arithmetic operator is supposed to add two numbers together. Okay. And this, of course, can also do more than just numbers. The concept is that you can also add strings together. So let me show you what I mean. So let's assume I have my first name, which is Gabriel, and let's assume I have my last name, which is Moses, and I could come here and say full name is equal to first name. I can actually use the addition operator and say plus last name. Okay, and to be safe, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a space between them so that they do not join without having a bit of space. And to see my output again, remember anytime you want to see your output, you always use the print function. So if I run this, I'm going to see my name joined together. So the addition operator, he can also add strings together. And the idea for it is because the issues with that is you might run into issues where in cases where, especially when you're working with Excel files, when the data inside the Excel files are numbers, but numbers that are not integers, but are strings. So knowing the kind of data you are working with is also very important. So if you're working with numbers that are strings, they are not going to add up to give you a result, such as what we did earlier that gave us 50. They're going to join together. So an example of that is this. This is an example. This is what I mean. Let's assume I have 10 here as a string, and I have 20 here as another string, and I try to add them together. Okay, what I'm going to get would not be 30. This would give me 10,020. Yes, because strings do not add up, they join together. So you have to be careful the kind of data you are working with. Okay. And it is also not possible to add things that are of different data types. You can't add an integer. Let me give you an example here. You can't add an integer to a string. Okay. That is not going to work. So something like this, you can't do this. This is not possible. You can't add an integer to a string. You can't do that. It's not going to, you're going to run into issues if you do that. Okay. Okay. And there. So the I think for all the arithmetic operators which I have not shown, yes, I think the best, or rather the most powerful, is the addition, the one that adds, and because he works on any kind of data. Yes, he can add. You can add booleans together. You can add strings together. You can add floats together. You can add integers together. He's the only operator that can join any kind of data. Yes, but be careful not to join a string to an integer. That is never going to work. Do not also join a float to an integer. That is not going to work. Okay, so okay, so that will be all for addition, and let's go and switch and go to other operators. So this is the symbol for subtraction. Of course, we can guess the output that wants to come out. This would be minus 10, because I'm saying 10 minus 20. Okay, this one is quite easy, quite straightforward. This is the symbol for multiplication. The output here would be 200. You can try it on your own. And I will also show you the symbol for division. This is the symbol for division, a forward slash. I think the things I would want to dive into is this, which is the floor division. What the floor division does is that he truncates the decimal part from whatever you have divided. So an example here would be if I say 5 and I say divided by 2, this would give me 2 rather than 2.5, which, okay, so you could see the output here. So it deleted the decimal part. The floor division deletes the decimal part. That's what it does. And the other one, which is not very known, this is called percentage, but in programming we call it modulus. Modulus. What it does is tells you the what is remaining after you have divided a particular number. So the question with this is how many times can 2 go into 5? And that would be 2 times, because 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 is remaining, which cannot be divided. So the output here would be 1. So it just gives you what is remaining after it has divided. The last one, which is not really that used, but I would say it's also very useful, is the exponential arithmetic operator. This is saying I'm going to raise 5 to the power of 2, and the answer there should be 25. So I'm trying to make this video as short as possible. So those are all the arithmetic operators. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.